So welcome back to the Independent Chef. I'm just testing out my selfie stick. I'm not that happy to see you actually. So tonight I'm going to do Italian chicken. This is one of my favorite dishes. Firstly because it's very simple, but secondly it really encapsulates the simplicity and agreeability of Italian food. For our system. You know, sometimes you eat Indian food and it's quite disagreeable, or American food is quite oily and rich, but Italian food just uses natural ingredients like tomatoes, olive oil, basil. It's just the natural food which you can actually eat a lot of because it's so natural and agreeable with your system. Anyway, let's get started soon. Welcome back.
Let's get started. Our first ingredient is the chicken. Now I've got free-range chicken thighs over here. Now you want to use chicken thighs because they're juicier than breasts. They've just got more flavor, they're a bit fattier, and they don't dry out as easily. So you take your chicken thighs, you simply put it in some flour that I've got here, just normal white flour. You dip it in and then you cook it in batches in a hot pan. So as soon as you put it into your pan, you want to get that sizzle, like you can hear over there, and that means you're going to get caramelization and the natural juices coming out. So come back here, got my chicken, put it in flour, put it in my pan. Now you want to do this in batches. This is because if you put too much chicken in the pan at once, the temperature of the pan will come down and the chicken won't get the caramelization. You want to keep the temperature nice and high. So I'm going to take 4 pieces in the first go and just brown it here. Now this is just the browning process. So I'm not cooking the chicken all here, I'm just going to brown it. It probably takes about 5 minutes a batch. You turn it when it's brown and you get the caramelization and then you put it to the side. So it's just to start the cooking process and get some flavor in the pan. So it's been going for about 5 minutes on the first side. So now you just want to check. You can see it's got that golden brown skin. So you can turn it. That brown color needs more flavor because you've got the natural sugars coming out of the meat. So you just turn it, give it another 3 or 4 minutes. Season it, salt, pepper, and then put it aside in a dish on the side. Remember, we're not cooking the chicken now, we're just browning, right? So it's been going for a few minutes on the other side. I've added salt and pepper, and now I just transfer the chicken that's been browned to a side dish. And once I've browned all the chicken in batches, I will then do the next stage, which is cook the vegetables. So you just leave that there. Right, so just taking out the last batch of chicken that I've been browning. So I've just browned them about 5 minutes aside until you get them golden brown. Look how beautiful that color is. You get that beautiful golden brown. And I've added salt and pepper. Right, now the next step, in the same pan where you've got all these wonderful flavors here, you can see that's where I've been cooking the chicken. So you've got all the flavors of the chicken. You add a little bit more olive oil as you need to. And then we're going to add the rest of the ingredients. So first up, put in some red onions. You can use brown onions, but red onions are sweeter. So, it goes in the same pan as the chicken, so you're not losing any of that flavor. Okay, so I've got my red onions in. Next, I'll put in some peppers. This is the Italian side. Look at those colors. That looks like an Italian sunset. Look at those wonderful colors. Okay, next up, some garlic. Chopped garlic, because this is an Italian dish, so you can put in as much or as little garlic as you like. Okay, just let that brown off for a few minutes. Okay, next up I'm going to take all my chicken that I've browned off and I'm just going to pop it back in the pan with all the juices in the container. You don't want to lose any of that flavor. Right, you've got your Italian chicken going there. Next, you don't have to do this step, but I like to be a bit chefy, so I've got some white wine, Italian white wine obviously, and we just deglaze the pan. You get that sizzle, and what you're doing, you're getting all the flavors from the bottom of the pan being lifted off with the wine. Now you let that wine cook off, it takes a few minutes, and you left with just the natural flavors of the wine once the alcohol cooks off. Right, next up, I've got a can of chopped tomatoes here. You can use any can of tomatoes, whole tomatoes or chopped tomatoes. You put that into your pot. Right, next up, because it's an Italian dish, some fresh tomatoes. Some cherry tomatoes, they're very sweet.
Again, look at those colors. It's a flaming red Italian sunset in Venice. Okay, although we're in crappy England with this grey outside, I've also included the stalk of the tomato because that actually adds more flavour. You can remove it before serving, but you want to include the little stalk. Okay, next up I've got some Kalamata olives, pitted. So you just throw them in. You don't need to have the olives, it's just to add an extra. Right. So you just let that sizzle and reduce for a short while. And next I'll add a little bit of water. I still have to boil the kettle. You don't have to, but I want to put a little bit of water or stock. And next I'm just going to add a little bit of stock over here. You can just make it water. You don't actually need it. There's a lot of liquid in the tomatoes and in the chicken. Okay, so a little bit of water. Then I'm going to cover the dish and transfer that to the oven at 180. I find it's better to cook in an oven because you get a more even cook. You get temperature from the top and the bottom, not just from the bottom, so your stews are much better in an oven. Now I can't carry this with one hand, so I'm going to stick it in the oven and I'll see you when it's done. So there you can see, it's a little bit smoky, but that's the beautiful end product with everything nice and toasty and settled. You can see how everything's settled and the chicken has crisped up on top by taking the lid out for the last few minutes. Now that is a fantastic simple dish.